Hey everyone, Danielle here. Today is Sunday, June 1st. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my channel where I talk about cross stitch. It is the first clip of my June vlog. And here we are with a finish. So my friend Jessie from Mislaid Pages was so sweet. They, for Stitch North Weekend 2, had put together a little packet for the swag bag. But because I wasn't at Weekend 2, I didn't get it. So Jessie very sweetly, kindly sent me the packet with my dinky dies that I get shipped from them every month. And so yeah, this was, the packet was this pattern, Thank You for Existing, as well as a piece of, well, there was various cuts of either Aida, even weave, linen, etc. in just different colors. Like these were all like just offcuts, misdyes, etc. And this was the color that I got, which is perfect. Like I love, I am very much like a pink purple person, but I'm also like an aqua teal person too. And I decided to use the floss that came in my swag bag from Leo and Roxy, which was called Elle Woods, which of course is from Legally Blonde. And yeah, and so since we hit June 1st, and in June I only stitch on things from queer designers, I decided that, and I had just gotten this in the mail, I decided to stitch this up. And I forgot to finish counting how many stitches. I counted as far as the word for, and now I gotta count the stitches that are in this. And y'all, I don't know what I did down here, but like this I is not supposed to be this close to the F. It's supposed to be 2 more stitches down. 2 full stitches down, and by the time I realized that it was that messed up, I was like, no, I'm not fixing it, because I couldn't even figure out what I did. If you guys can like pause the video and figure out what I counted wrong, I would love for you to tell me in the comments, because I'm pretty sure that my E is, well, okay, hold on. Now that I see it, okay, there is 1 space in this E that is incorrect. There should be 3 empty spaces here. So that would account for 1 stitch higher, but then like, I don't know what else I did that was wrong. But yeah, and then what's funny is I swear that I looked at that. Oh yeah, no, I definitely put the little middle bar in the wrong spot. But anyway, if you can figure out what I did wrong, please let me know. But yeah, I was like, it's fine. It is fine. So next thing I'm gonna do, I think, is I am going to a Pride event with my friend in a few days. Actually, we're leaving on the 6th. And I would like to stitch for her a Quirky Quaker pride flag in her colors, which is the pansexual flag. So I need to go upstairs and pick out a piece of fabric, and I would also, so I need to pull the DMC for the pan flag, and then I'm going to stitch either the border or the doodads in my Ace flag colorway floss that I have, so I need to pull that out. And then I don't know if I'll do the border in rainbow or not. Probably. So it'll be like rainbow border, Ace doodads, and then pan colors for the flag. Because I would like to stitch that up to give to her when we go to our Pride event. And then yeah, that is my plan right now. So I will check in when I have that little Quirky Quaker done. Bye for now. Hey everyone, today is Tuesday, June 3rd, and I'm coming at you with another finish. I stitched up this Quirky Quaker pride flag for my friend who I'm going to a pride walk with this weekend, and so I wanted to get it stitched up for her to give it to her this weekend. I actually didn't know, so her and I have been friends, well, like we met in middle school, and then, you know, like we were friends as like, you know, middle schoolers and high schoolers, and then we graduated and drifted and kind of like reconnected a few times here and there over the years, but now we're like really trying to make a go at like being adult friends, which has been fun and good. And so I didn't know that she identifies on the queer, you know, alphabet as pansexual. So I stitched up this pansexual flag for her. I used, I have a floss called Taste the Rainbow from Live and Die LA, and then also an Ace colorway from them. So I did the outer border in the Taste the Rainbow, and I did the doodads in the Ace one, and then I did her flag, the pansexual flag. On this 16 count, this is actually Jessie fabric, mislaid pages. I can't remember, I think it's called X-Ray, but this was the scrap. I have stitched at least one other Pride Quirky Quaker on here, I believe. Yeah, so I am done with this. And now, and again, so this is the 4th time I've stitched it. Every time I stitch it in one day. So that's kind of a fun little tradition. I think 50% of the time now I've messed up these doodads. I just cannot, for whatever reason, in my head grasp that I need to go 2 spaces between the heart and the equal sign. And sometimes I can't grasp that the equal sign is spaced with 1 in between. Like I think one time I did it with these like together, but I did fine until I hit this one, and then I only went 1 stitch up instead of 2. So thankfully it's fine. Everything else really is where it should be, except for all these doodads here should be like 1 space up. So I just compensated when I got to that side and did everything the same way. But yeah. So now I'm going to work on Transpie Tapestry by D's 20 Stitches. This is a 28 count Jobelin, was a mystery. I got it in a D stash, but it's pink and blue, so it's perfect. And I'm gonna work on outlining because I want this to be my next fill-in piece. After I'm done with Beachcomber, I will start taking this to stitchy groups for fill-in, because trust me when I say that there is a lot of fill-in on this project. So I'm going to start by outlining some more of the unicorn, and we'll just see how far I can get. I'll see you in the next clip. Bye! Hey y'all, Danielle here. It is Friday, June 13th. It feels like it's been 84 years since I checked in. I don't know when I last checked in. Obviously, I feel like it was after I finished stitching the Quirky Quaker for my friends. Because after I did that, I picked this up. I don't know if I showed it to you where my starting point was, but like, y'all, I have added, so I don't remember if I had this blue in or not. I think I did not. So a little bit of what I did is under the Q-snap, because I had to position the Q-snap originally so that I could get this upper stuff. But then once I did, I was able to move it quite a bit down, because I moved this to an 8x14 Q-snap, although I thought I was going to be able to get the whole width in, but I can't get the whole width in on a 14-inch Q-snap, which is crazy to me. But So like I was like right around here basically. I think I had this, I either had this, it was either broke right here or it broke right here, one or the other. So basically, like, I added the whole rest of the mane and filled it in. I did start this plant because at the time I didn't really have anywhere else to go with outlining. But then I moved the key snap and I mean, basically like everything you see. So I made another little spot there to fill in. I did this whole collar. I outlined all of this mane. I had been at this line basically. So like this fill-in was already done, but I didn't have any of this face or collar or any of this. And then I only had like a couple. I know I had this all the way in, like this top line of the unicorn's horn, but like none of the rest of it, I think. So as you can see, I have created a lot of fill-in opportunity. This is filled in with blue, this is filled in with blue, this is filled in with pink, and this is filled in with pink. And then the horn is a combination of white and blue. And then this whole rest of this area is white. So, and then I think that one down there is blue. Yeah, so I've created a ton of fill-in opportunity. The reason I didn't take this off the Q-snap to show you is because I think I'm gonna leave it on the Q-snap, and this is gonna be after I finish. I mean, I should just take it off the Q-snap because it's gonna be a little while. After I finish the fill-in for Beachcomber, then this is gonna be my fill-in piece. Because like you can see, it's just so much stitching. And then the plan would be, once I have the fill-in done, then I would focus on getting the plants caught up to, you know, about this line that I've kind of created. On both sides. I couldn't get the tail because like the tail kind of branches off up here, but the tail goes too tall, so I just decided to not start it. Starting things that I can't like finish within the Q-snap really bothers me, and that I think is also why I didn't add any more to that plant over there too. But yeah, this is how far I got. I added 2,071 stitches. That's taken me like 10 days though, y'all. Like I just haven't. I have a couple days where the one day I only clocked 25 stitches because I was stitching over midnight, but then, so when I got to 25 stitches was when my thread ran out, and then I just like didn't thread up another thread the whole rest of the day. My sleep schedule has been really like impacting my stitching. I was kind of ready to move on from this tonight, but I've been doing parade progress and with whip parades, and I was like, nah, like fill-in will be easy and get me some good numbers, and my numbers for this week aren't great, so I was like, let me just do a little bit more fill-in. But I do think I'm going to set this down now and pick up, I believe the next project that I want to pick up is the 9-band Pride Sampler by the Craft Experimentalist. I would like to see if I could get like at least, I think I have one band set up for fill-in that the last time I worked on it, I had to rip out like twice whatever I had put in it. And then, so I'd really like to get like 2 bands done at least. There's like a lot of counting in that piece, like there's just a lot of negative space in that piece, except for the bands, you know, and and like the borders and stuff, but we'll see. So I just feel like it's hard to like, I want to like set my thing in the key snap once and then just kind of like go, but that's kind of hard. Like I feel like I don't get that much accomplished in the key snap on that piece, but that's the next piece I'm gonna work on. Yeah, so I will check in. Hopefully I'll work on it for about a week. We'll see. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey y'all, Danielle here. It is currently Thursday, June 19th. Yeah, June 19th. And I'm not putting this piece down yet, but I had to come on here because I needed to like celebrate the fact that I am done working with the color orange for right now. This piece has been a little bit of a struggle, I'm not gonna lie. When I picked it up, and I wish I was better at showing y'all what this looked like, or what my pieces start at. But what I can tell you is that when I picked this up, I had this red line and I had this orange line, just the top of these bands. I had other stuff too, but like from where I started, right? So I finished this red band, easy peasy. Now I'm tempted to go back to my Flosstube from last year just to be like, what happened? I don't remember what happened exactly, but I had a like bad miscounting error where I think I took this bar out to like, but I was one stitch short, and so then when I started these hearts, it ended at the wrong spot. And then I know I did something wrong with the orange too, because when I picked this up, I still needed to put one stitch at the end of the red and one stitch at the end of the orange. So somehow I think, like, I don't know why I would have counted off of here, like when this was wrong. I don't know, but I remember having to rip out, this bottom bar and all these hearts and then leaving it with just that one stitch that I needed. But that also somehow happened on the orange too. I know I had stitched some of this, but y'all, this red band, easy peasy, no problem, went super quick. This orange band is so many more stitches than it looks like, and it was just so boring. It was so boring. And then when I got to the back stitch, I was just not having it. This was 3 or 4 strands to get the back stitch done. And then I was like, then y'all, I'm not even done, because then I had to do the swoopies for orange. This swoopy here, this swoopy here. Y'all, I am so happy to be done with orange. But so that's basically what I added was, except for the top red, I added the rest of the red. Except for the top bar of orange, I added all the rest of orange, orange swoopy. And then this. So I gotta say, I was not really feeling this piece. I was stitching, but I was just like having a really hard time. But this isn't really a piece that like I want to give up on. But I was kind of thinking, I was like, you know what, maybe I should just like scrap what I have and I should just stitch all these bands. But instead of the words for the bands going over here in the middle, because all these bands repeat over there, and in the middle is the words that the colors represent. I was like, what if I started this over, but like stitch this band and then put the word in the middle? And so obviously I would add more space, but then I would basically just have like a little band sampler. But I was like maybe halfway through this orange band and I was like, I do have to stitch it again if I keep the project as is, because it goes over there too. But I was like, I don't know if I can handle like stitching these same bands again. But when I realized that part of my problem, because I was thinking about when I was still working with the orange, I was like, and I got to put the orange in these little 4 squares, right? Which I will have had to have put up a picture. If I haven't, I will now, just to give you some like context. So these little 4 square things are supposed to be all the individual colors, but like you do like 4 red, 4 yellow, 4 orange, or 4 red, 4 orange, 4 yellow, 4 green, 4 blue, 4 purple, and you just repeat over and over and over, right? All the colors. It's only 4 stitches at a time. And I had like 3 done here, 3 done here, 3 done here, and then a couple that were off this way. And y'all, that is either a lot of starting and stopping or it's a lot of carrying. And I was obviously carrying because that's how I roll, but I still wasn't happy with it. It's also a lot of counting if you're gonna carry like that. And I was like, Lord help me if I miscount one of those and it ends up in the wrong spot, and then other things are in the wrong spot because I counted wrong. I was just not totally happy with that. And the thought of having to put the orange into this border was making me really unhappy. And so I actually decided to rip out what I had and pull out a rainbow floss. This is a Gloriana. Let me grab the tag. Okay, so this is a Gloriana. It's called Ada's Rainbow. And then I laid out the strand here so you can kind of see the full variegation. I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing was that if you want your strand to variegate through all of the colors, you can't just cut the skein. You have to actually like pull the skein through the variegation and cut at the end of one of the colors. So I opted for pink over there to be the beginning of my variegation and for the purple to be the end of my variegation. I do not love that the purple is very short. I feel like it's even shorter than the pink. The pink is pretty short too. And then even though the skein looks pretty good, like it has red, it's a super pink red. And when you put it, you can see it down here, that like it just, you only get like this little tiny bit that's kind of red, and then it moves to orange. So it's definitely not like the perfect rainbow variegated floss, but I am pretty happy with it, especially because this is just, I had this in my stash. And once I decided to rip out what I had and I put 2 strands of this in, I'm already feeling much happier about this piece. I feel like I can tough through the bands, having to stitch them again, you know, twice basically. This, having had a look at all the bands, like I feel like that orange one is by far the worst one. I kind of like stitching this outer border, and now I'm happier with this border. And then there's words here that go in between the 2 borders on all 3 sides. Well, 3 of the 4 sides. There's different words that go on the 4th side, which is the bottom of the piece. And then there's just the words that are in the middle between the bands. So I feel much better about this piece now than I did when I first like picked it up. And it was just really just making that change on the variegated floss, doing that instead of the individual colors. I'm just much happier with life with this piece. But yeah, I just had to celebrate. I'm done working with orange now. I'm gonna pick up the yellow, and so there's a yellow swoopy here and there's a yellow swoopy at the end next to that orange, and I think I can just barely fit the yellow band down there. So my plan is to do the yellow swoopies, 1 to 2 more strands of the variegated floss, and hopefully get the yellow band done. It's a very light stitchy band. And then hopefully I would like to start the words that are in between. and then I'll put this down. It's the 19th, so I have 11 more days, and I need to put a good chunk of stitches into, at least I would like to put a good chunk of stitches into Move Forward. That'll be the second time I pick up a that whip this year. Yeah, so that's the plan for the rest of the month. See y'all in the next clip. Bye. Hey everyone. Today is Monday, June 23rd, and I am finished for now with my 9-banded Pride sampler. Hold on, gonna yawn. Excuse me, I'm super tired. I've been like pushing because I was like, I cannot spend another night on this. I have to get done what I want to get done so that I can move on. But yeah, so I added 2,215 stitches. Basically I added this band, and this band. I added all these words, all of these words, this whole border here, and I think I didn't add any gray border, but I only had like 4 swoopies done when I started, so I've added these 2, these 2, these 4, and these 2. I should have taken this out a little bit more, like 1 more strand of gray, and then I could have done 2 swoopies, because I feel like when I go to put it on the Q-snap the next time, like I'm gonna have to go so far back, especially because I have to try to manage the back stitch and the Q-snap, but I just knew like so many of these bands are a lot of there are a lot of backstitch that I didn't want to wait till the end, so I just made the decision to do it as I go, but to just have to try to manage it with the Q-snap, and that might mean not always having optimal level or optimal placement in the Q-snap. I'm doing this on a 20 count piece of Bestitch Me fabric in the colorway Meadow. It's a little greener than I like or would have liked, but last year when I started this, I did not have that many options available to me. But yeah, and I'm really happy with this now. Like, I know the last time I came on, I was struggling, but like somewhere, I turned a corner somewhere, and I'm really happy with this piece now, and I think that someday it's gonna look amazing framed up. I did almost get to 30% done. I'm at 28.85% done, but it still needs 8,700 stitches to do, so plus backstitch. Like 8,700 is just whole stitches. Yeah, and obviously the 22.15 that I did does not count for backstitch, and there was so much backstitch in this band, and then this is obviously all backstitch in here. There's a little backstitch sometimes in the words, like this little thing, this little heart, and then up here, like some of the letters are done, like you can see on the E, it's just a backstitch line to connect. And same with the Y, and the D has it. But yeah, so here we are. I am going to pull out Move Forward by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's going to be my last whip for Pride Month. I am planning to go to Whip Wednesday in a couple of days, so I'll be getting hopefully a few strands in on my beachcomber fill in, and then the Move Forward. I do go away on June 29th. Wait, no, June 28th. I think 30, 29, 20, 27th. Correction. Keeps getting worse. I leave town on June 27th and I don't come home until June 30th. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to not stitch all those days. So maybe that's another case where I'm gonna take Beachcomber with me to just fill in that box. And maybe between Whip Wednesday and that trip, it could be I could finish the box. We'll see. But yeah, so that is the plan. I will check in again when I put down Move Forward, which will be, at the end of the month. Like I said, I'll get home on the 30th. So I might put one more night into that depending upon how I feel, how far I get in the next few days. Yeah, I will check in with the next update. Bye for now. Hey everyone, today is Thursday, July 3rd. I'm coming at you a little late with the June wrap up because I haven't stitched in a week. Thursday last week was the last day that I stitched. I've been very busy, but I just wanted to show you where we ended on Move Forward in Love. I added the purple, which was like a full color complete. Did that bottom band. I did it in the little those little doodads in the border of the medallion, and then all of these little triangle-y doodads. And then I did another strand of green, maybe 2 strands of green, but for sure 1 strand of green down in that opposite corner. So yeah, I did not get as much done on this as I would have liked. But I ran out of time in June, and now I'm going to start Christmas and July stitching. My goals this month are I want to work on the Nutcracker by RATM and my Home Alone piece. And then I want to start 3 projects. I want to start Big City Christmas. I want to start the Hello from Liz Matthews Winter Star pillow, and the Tiny Modernist 3D gingerbread house. So big plans. And I do have a fair bit of stuff on the calendar this month too, so we'll see. I just barely broke 6,000 stitches. I think it was somewhere between 6,100 and 6,200 something stitches in the month of June, so not as much as I would have liked, but yeah, so that's gonna be the end of this monthly vlog. I will get it up on YouTube as soon as I can, but if it's like the 7th and you're seeing this, well, but yeah, so thanks everyone for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, all those good YouTube-y things, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!